Hey everyone. So years ago, I made a video showing my entire collection from the 2003 Turtles cartoon, and I will link that video in the description in case you want to go back to watch it. But what I wanted to do today is sort of a follow up to that video, and that's showing specifically the action figures from that cartoon series. I thought this would be a nice way to go through these a little bit more individually, talk about them more in depth, and show each one instead of just giving a brief overview. So that's exactly what we're going to do today, and not going to waste any more time. We'll get started on it right now. Okay, so to start with, I've got sort of the main characters here on this wall, so we'll go through those first. And of course, we've got the turtles themselves: Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. So what I like about these is that I like the, I know this is a weird thing maybe, but I like the backing on them. So they have the individual turtles as the backing, which is cool. And similar to the 1987 cartoon, they have, each of the turtles has like a different color. You can see Leonardo's more of just he's almost like an olive green. Donatello is a darker green. Raphael is sort of a lighter green. Michelangelo is kind of like a forest green. So I think that's cool. It gives him, sort of a unique look. And what else is really cool too, you can see on a couple of these, I still have the stickers saved. $6.99 at KB Toys. If anybody remembers KB Toys, that was an awesome place to get some action figures. And $6.99 these days, man, that would be a bargain. I get excited if I find an action figure for less than $10 these days. So there's those. And what's cool about this cartoon is that I was a bit older when it came out. I think I was 18 or 19. So I was just collecting and I wasn't playing with these like I was, with the 87 cartoon. So all of these are still in the package, not opened, which is pretty neat. Scroll down a little bit more here. We've got, of course, Splinter and Shredder. And Splinter comes with a little mutagen ooze. Shredder in this is really tough. He's sort of, they went a little bit more serious for anyone who never watched this cartoon. It was based a little bit more on the comic book as opposed to the 87 cartoon, which was, obviously more kid-friendly, a little bit more goofy. Shredder was just kind of a over-the-top villain, but he's a lot more serious in this, and he's a very tough enemy. So, yeah, he's probably one of my favorite iterations of Shredder. If you hear any noises in the background, by the way, one of my cats decided that it would be fun to go up and start knocking over different things I have on display, which is always a good time. Anyway, on to the rest of the wall. We've got April, of course, April O'Neil. So she was a bit different. She's not a news reporter in this. She is, if I remember correctly, she starts off working for Baxter Stockman, so she's like a lab assistant. So yeah, a little bit different character for her. Doesn't have the yellow raincoat, of course. And so then when I mentioned each of the individual turtles has their face as the backing, and the other figures just have all four turtles. So really cool backing. And then, of course, we've got Casey Jones, as always. Comes with hockey mask and hockey stick and pads and all that good stuff. Golf bag. Classic Casey Jones. And then lastly on this wall, we've got Foot Soldier, as usual. So that was another change from the 87 cartoon. The Foot Soldiers were no longer robots. They're now humans, just like in the movie, the original movie series, and just like in the comic book. So, yeah, so those were basically a lot of the main characters that you saw on, not either, obviously the Turtles were on every episode, but a lot of the other characters you saw on nearly every episode. And we will head to the next wall. Okay, so the next wall, I've got more recurring characters and some main characters again. So first we've got Hun. So Hun wasn't in the 87 cartoon at all. He is in this sort of Shredder's right-hand man, a right-hand goon at least. He's the leader of the Purple Dragons. He's sort of just like an easy foil for the Turtles, I guess, similar to like Bebop and Rocksteady in the original cartoon. Like he's a big tough guy, as you can see from the picture, but doesn't really pose, or as you can see from the figure, but doesn't really pose much of a threat ever to the Turtles. So he's just kind of there so they can have somebody to beat up a lot. Then we've got one of my favorite characters that was from the comic, and another one that wasn't in the 87 cartoon, and that is the Foot Elite Guard. So the Elite Guard Ninja are sort of like, 3 steps up from Foot Soldiers. You've got your Foot Soldiers that are just sort of the generic Stormtrooper type enemies, and then the Elite Guard are like the ones Shredder sends out when he means business. So you've got those. And then we've got couple Triceraton figures. First we have Commander Mozar. And then we have Triceraton Warrior. So I do like the space arc in this. They do a space arc as well in the 2012 cartoon, which I like a lot too. So I always enjoy when they have episodes around the Triceratons. They go into space, they sort of battle them. I think they're a really fun enemy. So there's the 2 Triceraton figures. And then moving over here, we have the Footfire Mystic. So there are 4 Footfire Mystics in this cartoon. I believe it was Fire, Earth, Wind, and Water. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was it. But as far as I know, the Fire Mystic was the only one they actually made a figure of. So I have that. Would have been cool if they made all 4 of them. I'm not sure why they didn't. And as we move down, we have another character from that, the space arc. We've got the Fugitoid, who ends up showing up always. He's always in Turtles lore, typically, and whenever they do that, their space arc, their space couple episodes. And we'll move over here, we have a couple characters from the Battle Nexus arc they did, which was okay. I didn't love that arc as much as some of the other ones, but I've got a couple figures from there. We have the Dark Assassin, and below him, Butterfly Swords. And still within the Battle Nexus arc, we have the Ultimate Daimyo. And right above him is actually what I thought was a really cool character, is Nobody. So Nobody is like a vigilante, and I just kind of works with helping the Turtles, and I always thought, I don't know, I thought Nobody, I would have been cool if they did more with that character. I thought it was a really cool character. So let's just continue from the bottom here, work our way up. So we have, well, these are all from another sort of story arc. We've got Turtle Titan, which is like superhero Michelangelo. Silver Sentry, who's Michelangelo's like comic book hero, and then his enemy, Dr. Malignus. So that's all from the same, episode. And then we've got Razor Fist. So they were early on. There was Razor Fist, Stonebiter, and Quarry, I think, were the 3. I'm pretty sure I only have Razor Fist. I could be wrong. I'm looking around now. I can't remember. But so then we've got some other cool characters. This was part of the arc I really enjoyed. We've got Guardian Ninja. Let me stand up here, get you a better view. So we've got Guardian Ninja, and then also I'll go next to them, we have Utrom. So this was a big change for people who had never read the comic book. As you can see, this was basically Krang from the 1987 cartoon, whereas in the original comics, they were Utroms, good guys, believe it or not. But what they did in this is they made the Utroms good guys again, but Shredder is actually an Utrom himself, Shrell, and he was like the evil Utrom that ended up turning into Shredder. So I like this with Utroms, Guardian Ninjas, that what they ended up doing was we got a lot of backstory into Oroku Saki, Hamato Yoshi, that whole story. So it was really cool. Really enjoyed a lot of that. And at the top here is one of my favorite characters always, in no matter what he's in, is Usagi Yojimbo. Whenever they involve him in Turtles stories, I always find them to be interesting. I think he's a really good character. Another great character, Leatherhead. And yet another big change from the 87 cartoon, because Leatherhead is a good guy in this, which he actually tends to be a lot, but as we know from the 87 cartoon, he was one of their enemies. So that was a big change. And then on the very left, we have Turtlebot, which is pretty similar to Metalhead. Sort of the same idea, just, a robot version of a turtle. Giant Mouser, of course, can't have a turtle series without some Mousers in it. And then lastly, we have Baxter Stockman, this weird-looking version. So Baxter Stockman in this was sort of, he would just mess up a lot, and Shredder would send Hun to, like, beat him up, and eventually he had, like, an eye patch and, like, a broken arm, and then eventually he just turned himself into this weird monster, and to my knowledge, there isn't an actual regular Baxter Stockman figure. It's just this one, so this is what we've got. But that's it for this wall, so we will move on to the next one. Okay, so on this wall, I went with some of the different iterations of the Turtles that they made. Much like in the 87 cartoon, they, took the Turtles themselves and then put them in all kinds of different types of figures. So you can see here, we've got the, like, extreme sports Turtles. We've got Scootin' Leo, Biker Don, Skatin' Raph, and Thrashin' Mike. So these, I like these. I don't, as you'll see in a little bit, I don't always love the different iterations, but I thought these were pretty cool, that they made them different, like, extreme sports. So an example of ones I didn't love, you can see that here's the space hopping turtles. One of the reasons why I didn't love these as much and some of the other ones is because there's not as much of a variety. You can see they all look kind of the same. I mean, they have their gears slightly different. You know, Donatello's is a little more purple, Raphael's is a little more red, etc. But overall, there's not as much of a variety as opposed to like the Extreme Sports Turtles, which are totally different. And my cat is playing with something again. If you hear that noise, she's decided that when I film videos is the best time to do that, apparently. So a couple more here. We have this MESS Donatello figure, which stands for Mutant Extreme Sewer Sports. So it's like a extreme version of Donatello hockey playing. This was a later figure in this series. And we've got the old toddler turtles, those cute little mini turtles. We've got Shredder without a helmet, Armorized Shredder is the official name. Cool seeing the version. And then another version of Foot Soldier. This is the Foot Tech Ninja, which was basically just like a more advanced version of Foot Soldier. So that's it, just a small wall there. Oh, and you know what? Actually, I do have a couple more I wanted to show on this wall. I've got 3 of the 4 wind-up walk-in turtles, Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I never got Michelangelo, but there's the 3 of them. And that's it for this wall, and I've got one last batch of figures to show. Okay, and the last portion I'll show here is the action figures that I didn't have room to display, basically. I can only fit so many. So this is another video I made years ago, was showing a lot of these. I had actually found these boxes. I had them packed away, and I was sort of just showing what was in there. So I'll link that video in the description as well, but I'll quickly go through these. So we've got Claw Shredder. So they made like clones of Shredder in this, which was, again, something they took from the comic book, and one of them was Claw Shredder. Behind him, we have another Giant Mouser, so I've got 2. Maybe I'll open that someday. I probably don't need to have both unopened. And then, whoops, behind that, we have the Foot Gunner Ninja. And then we get into more. I won't go through each of these, but we'll get into more. So these are the Fighting Gear Turtles. Fighting Gear. So similar to what I mentioned with the Space Hopping Turtles, I don't feel they have much of a variety. Like, they're all just kind of similar. They have some extra gear on. That's about it. Nothing super exciting. So, yeah, that's those. They're fine, but, you know, I don't really see a reason to display them, especially when I don't have all the room. And then in this one, we've got all the mutating turtles. All the mutating turtles, along with even they have mutating Shredder and mutating Foot Soldier. And then we also have the Ninja Action Turtles, which again, you know, they're all basically the same. So won't go crazy in depth in there. Just thought I'd show that. I've got another little, you know, extra couple boxes. Endless amounts of 2003 Turtles, which is great because it's a great cartoon, really underrated cartoon. And I think these figures are really cool looking. I love everything about them. I love the packaging, like I mentioned. Even like the backing is cool. So, so yeah, that's what I've got. All right, so that is my collection. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it brought back some good memories. If anybody watching has some of these action figures or remembers, you know, playing with or collecting these action figures, drop a comment. Let me know. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on it, or, you know, any memories you might have about it. So, yeah, that would be great. And thanks for watching.